Hey guys, in today's video I'll be going over product rules. The product rule is simply a formula which is used to find the derivatives of products of two or more functions. So what it states is that if you have two functions, let's call them f of x and g of x, that are both differentiable, then the derivative of their products would be equal to the first function f of x times the derivative of the second function g of x plus the second function g of x times the derivative of the first function f of x. And in this video, I'll be going over 5 problems regarding product rules, and I'll have them time-stamped in the description. So for the first problem, we have differentiate the following function. F of x is equal to sine of x times the square root of x. And in order to solve for this problem, we have to use the product rule. So f prime of x is equal to the derivative of the first function, which is sine of x. It'll give you cosine of x times the second function, which is square root of x, plus the first function, which is sine of x, times the derivative of square root of x. Another way of writing this is x to the 1/2 power. So if you were to take the derivative, it would be 1/2 x to the minus 1/2. And we can further simplify this into cosine of x times the square root of x plus 1/2 sine of x over square root of x. So here's your solution for the first problem. So for the second problem, we have f of x is equal to t to the minus 2 times cotangent t. And taking the derivative of this equation, we get f prime of x is equal to the derivative of the first function times the second function. So that gives you minus 2t to the minus third times cotangent t plus the first function times the derivative of the second function. So that gives you t to the minus 2 times minus cosecant squared t. And this is just something you have to memorize, all the derivatives of the trig functions. So right now we can just simplify further. We can take out a minus t to the minus 2. And this gives us 2t to the minus 1 times cotangent t plus cosecant squared t. So here's your solution for the second problem. So for the third problem, we have x squared minus 3x plus 4 times minus 12 plus 7x minus 2x to the minus 2. And in this case, your x squared minus 3x plus 4 would be considered the first function, and minus 12 plus 7x minus 2x to the minus 2 would be considered your second. So using the product rule, your y prime is equal to the derivative of the first function, which gives you 2x minus 3 times the second function, which is minus 12 plus 7x minus 2x to the minus 2 plus your first function, which is x squared minus 3x plus 4 times the derivative of the second function, which gives you 7 plus 4x to the minus 3. So now all we have to do now is use distribution. So this gives you minus 24x plus 14x squared minus 4x to the minus 1 plus 36 minus 21x plus 6x to the minus 2. We do the same for this term, and this gives you 7x squared minus 21x plus 28 plus 4x to the minus 1 minus 12x to the minus 2 plus 16x to the minus 3. So all we have to do now is combine the like terms, and you'll end up with 21x squared minus 66x plus 64 minus 6x to the minus 2, finally 16x to the minus 3. So here's your solution for the third problem. So for the fourth problem, we have f of x is equal to 10x to the minus 2 plus cosine of x times sine of x. So in this problem, we have to take the derivative of each term separately. So first off, we have f prime of x. So in this case, we take the derivative of 10x to the minus 2 plus the derivative of cosine of x sine of x. So now the derivative of 10x to the minus 2, which gives you minus 20x to the minus 3, plus, in this case here, we have to use the product rule because you have two functions, cosine of x and sine of x. So in this case, the derivative of cosine of x, which gives you minus sine of x, times the second term, which gives you sine of x, plus the first function, which gives you cosine of x, times the derivative of the second function, which gives you cosine of x. So we can simplify this. Gives you 20x to the minus 3 minus sine squared x plus cosine squared x. So here's your solution. So for problem 5, we have f of x is equal to x squared times sine of x times tan of x. However, in this case, we have 3 functions instead of 2. With the previous questions, we saw that we were using 2 functions for the product rule. However, for this problem, we'll use the same method that we used for the product rule and applied for the last function. So going ahead and solving this, we get f prime of x is equal to the derivative of the first function, which gives you 2x, times the other 2 functions, which gives you sine of x, times tan of x, plus the derivative of the second function, which gives you cosine of x, times the first function, times the third function, tan of x, plus the derivative of the third function for tan of x. That gives you secant squared x times the first function, which is x squared, times sine of x, which is the second function. It was the same method that we saw previously for the other question, except we had one more term, and we just applied the same method using the product rule. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope this video was helpful to you, but if you do have any questions or suggestions, you can always comment down below. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.